to another episode of Kavanaugh's Corner. I'm Andrew Kavanaugh. Just wanted to say thank you for coming back to the channel. Sorry about not having a video last week, but sadly I was very, very sick. I actually had strep throat for a few days, and that kind of didn't help me talk at all. So I didn't want to do a video sick, and I didn't want to do a video where I sounded like Batman. So I waited it out, and I'm glad that I did. This week I'm actually going to be bringing you my review of It, the new 2017 version. This movie scared the shit out of me, and honestly, I think it's going to become one of these horror modern classics. This was a phenomenal film. I think it was a wonderful adaptation of Stephen King's novel. I read the novel many years ago, and I will say, as much as I liked the novel, there were certain things that I was not crazy about, and I think when they transferred it to this movie, I think they did a very good job of taking out things that didn't quite work and adding some other things to make it an entertaining movie. Honestly, I think one of the best things about the movie was that it did have some truly terrifying moments, but it also was pretty funny. The movie was, it was pretty funny. There was some really laugh-out-loud moments, and there were a couple scenes where the whole audience was cracking up, because the kids that are in this movie, the child actors that are in this film, this is some of the best child acting I've ever seen. And it's funny that the only other thing I can really compare it to as of recently is Stranger Things, which is kind of a Stephen King homage, I guess you could say, and this was a great version of the novel. Again, the thing that I have to say is that if you've read the novel, and I'm not giving anything away when I say this here, but this really only deals with the first part of the novel when the kids are encountering this evil, and it does not go into the adult part. They are going to do the adult part as a secondary film. And I think that is genius, because going back to the 1990 version of It with Tim Curry and John Ritter, a lot of great actors in that little, I think it was a mini-series actually, or a TV movie. Actually, it was a TV movie. That one there, the main problem I had with that version was the fact that it went back and forth a lot between the kids and the adults. It went back and forth, back and forth. And I think the story works a lot better when it's separated into two parts, when you have just the kids and then them as the adults. I think it works a lot better, and I think the sequel will also work better because of that. I probably will never use a projector the same way ever again. There is a truly just nerve-wracking scene in this movie where the kids are using a projector to look at photos. I'm not going to ruin anything, but my God, that scene is just absolutely just terrifying, and I loved it, but I was actually sweating in the movie theater after that scene. It is a scary, scary movie, but I love the fact that this movie really nailed the fantasy and then the horror aspects of Stephen King's writing. Because Stephen King deals a lot with fantasy aspects, meaning things that couldn't possibly happen in reality, and also just pure horror. And he balances that very well in this movie. The director of the film did a fantastic job of making the film believable, but also making it fantastic. And the special effects are definitely, and they really help out in that. The special effects in this film are very well done. They are extremely realistic looking, and I like the fact that they did a lot of the effects for real in this film and only relied on CGI when they absolutely had to. And I think that's the way it should be. I don't like an abundance of CGI. Unless CGI is absolutely the only way to go, I do not like tons and tons of CGI. I don't mind it if the CGI is done well, but I never prefer tons of CGI versus just normal effects. For those of you that haven't seen It, it is the story of a group of kids that are basically outsiders. They get picked on a lot by bullies, and one of the kids, his brother encounters this evil, malicious entity, and is brutally murdered by it. It's not said that right out in the story, but it's pretty obvious that the kid is dead. And basically what happens is these kids decide to seek out this malicious spirit and find out what it's about and what the meaning of the whole situation is. And it ends up becoming a really interesting mystery slash horror movie slash comedy slash fantasy. It's a very interesting story. I love this new version of it. But all in all, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was just a fabulous horror movie. Also a pretty great comedy. Skarsgård, who plays Pennywise in this, just nails the performance throughout the whole movie. He is so damn good in this. Again, all the child actors all did a fabulous job. I really hope I see more of them in the future. And it's funny because when they do the sequel, I guess they're not going to go with the same kids because the kids have to be fully grown adults. So I'm eager to see how they recast these roles for the sequel. I just hope the sequel lives up to this one. Either way, if you haven't seen the original version from 1990, or if you haven't read the book, I highly suggest you go see it. It is a fabulous, fabulous version of Stephen King's novel. I can't wait for the second part. And I give it actually a 4.5 out of 5. I thought this was a fantastic film. I thought it was very well shot. I thought the dialogue was very well written. And it's overall just a very entertaining film. Until next time, I'm Andrew Kavanaugh. I want to say thank you for coming back to Kavanaugh's Corner. Take it easy.